Hello and good evening. I think we're live. I think everything should be working. Welcome everyone to tonight's stream. Sorry, I was just 15 minutes late, and that's because I wanted to eat and my food was being slow. So that's how it is. We got a little bit of snow and stuff here in Copenhagen, so that's great news unless you hate snow. I happen to like snow, so that's awesome. Welcome to tonight's stream, everyone. As always, if you are new to the streams, the way it works is that we go for between 2 and, well, last time we did 4 hours, so I don't know how long we'll go tonight. Probably will go for a while. If you're here, then it'd be great if you could say hello, just so I know who's here. You don't have to, but it's just always great. I can see already people are in the comments here. Schultz is here, Rob C is here, hello, Plexiglass is here, hello everyone, and enjoy. We're gonna have a really cozy stream tonight, as we're slowly moving into Christmas times. I'm gonna already start the music a little bit. Oh. Just let me know that everything is balanced and everything is nice and great. Around the 1 hour mark or something, we're gonna take a little 5-minute break or something, so you can, take a break from this. I can take a break also. That'd be great. And we'll see how long we'll go tonight. Tonight's theme is robots. Like these guys. Robots. I've been a little bit of a excuse me. I've been in a little bit of a robot drawing mood for the last couple of days, and I think robots, they're interesting. They're really, really interesting. In a strange, funny way, they're kind of like creature design. You're making this non-human thing. Like, these are obviously quite humanoid in that they have 2 arms and 2 legs, but there's lots of kinds of robots. And I'm drawing robots right now for the Sci-Fi World that I have called Black Horizon, which you can check out in various places. You probably already know that. If you don't, check the description. Oh my god. I think that food, that really, whatever. I got Chango BC. Hello, welcome to the stream. Glad to have you here. Nice turtleneck from Plexiglass. Thank you. Actually, it's this thing that can like fold up even more. Look at this. Can you see that? Look, it's like an extreme turtleneck. Now you look like, have you seen those the pictures of these women in Africa, certain tribes, where they put on they have the neck rings and they stretch up the neck. It's quite extreme. Actually, I want to see if I can find that like neck. Oh, sorry if I'll be coughing for the next 5 minutes or something. Just for neck rings here. Oh, I guess there's also some kind of Asian tribes that do this. Or maybe it's mostly like an Asian thing. I saw it like this kind of stuff here. This is crazy. It's very interesting. I mean, it's beautiful in a certain kind of way, but it's very like... Exactly, I heard Rob C, exactly, they can be quite lethal to remove these net rings. These are giving me some ideas for some robots already, so that's, let's do something with those kind of things. Oh yeah! Oh, So neck rings, that's what that is all about. Yeah, exactly, Plexi, that's the same thing that Rob was talking about right there. Schultz, you're not a fan of the... Wait. Minus 12 degrees? What? No way. What is this? Where you placed? Schultz, where are you in the world? Well, you're in Denmark, but... Mustache. That's what that is. But tonight's stream we're going to be doing some robots, and robots are really interesting in that they're, like I was saying, they're kind of like creature design, and but it's all mechanical stuff and things like this. I've actually had a really fun long history of designing robots. I've done lots of kinds of robots, but it's also really a place where I feel like I need to learn a lot. I'm kind of good at the big shape stuff, but once we start getting into some of the details and things, it starts dismantling a little bit. Oh, you're the Danish-German border. Oh, okay. So you're down by, is it Svendborg? Oh my god, okay. That's crazy. Nice. Appreciate that. Robots. I just want to share with you some of the robots, because I did one project in the past relating to robots that I want to share with you guys. I might have talked about this project sometime. I just want to see if I can find it here, so I can just share, because it might be a little bit relevant. But the idea is to just sit in Photoshop and draw some robots. And oh my god, it's the cold. It's what it is. Okay, so long ago, in the year 2019, me and some friends, we did this film, or it's actually just a trailer for like a little story for like a robot that that was carrying this thing, and we designed this robot. And I actually have a poster of this robot outside, and it's in this world where there's these other robots, kind of like these mechanical beasts like this, that are slowly molding the world in some way. And a robot here is just kind of waltzing around the world trying to figure out exactly what to do. And there's all these beasts and stuff, and this was a real-time film we did in Unity and these kind of things, but there's these kinds of robots. You can see they're trudging through. And actually, a fun fact, so we were in school, right, and there's other groups in school doing other projects, and all the groups have a name. Our group was called Artificial Condition, like that's what the film was called. Some of the other groups were called, one of them was called Path of the Shramana. They were doing like a game, so that's POTS, Path of the Shramana. So we did like logos in the world for each. Also here, there's one called like Acres Pine or something, Pine or something like this, because there's like, yeah, that's also one of the groups. I think actually, and that was just kind of funny. We got these like saw also logos there. You can't still see it. They're also transforming the world and this kind of weird stuff. It's just like, you know, like little fun things. And we got to design this robot, and this was all fully like functional with hydraulics and cylinders, and the same with this kind of stuff. Here we got some solar panel robots, and it kind of ends with a lot of dramatic, and it's not a great thing, by the way. Like, it's completely like bizarre and weird, and we were just, you know, trying to learn stuff. But it taught me a lot about robot design, especially kind of more like functional and mechanical robot design. And it's something that I've kept with me ever since, and hopefully we'll see that today. When we draw some robots, I'll be talking a lot about kind of the mechanics and stuff of everything. Hopefully that'll work out. Cool. So that was those robots. And probably I have some, maybe I have some stuff on Instagram, like that I posted a while ago. Let me see here. Like, cause we did a lot of concept for the project. Let me just see here. All this crap. Yeah, here's some stuff. Like, so these are some of the concepts for these like robots. You can see very like fast and sketchy. This is quite a while ago. Like figuring out these kinds of things. Yeah, little sketches. And it's just the same body and then with a different head. This was the lamp one that could like extend its head. And I think, you know, obviously you can see that there's potentially a little bit of inspiration from Horizon Zero Dawn, but I wanted something that was a lot more mechanical and grounded. I got these big walkers also. So yeah, and here's some other concepts for these robots, some head designs and stuff like this. Just very fast sketches, and we ended up doing something like this, which is the final robot in the thing. This is what, I don't know how long ago now, but this was posted in 2020, but this was made in 2018, I think. So a lot has happened. Oh, this is a poster. I have this poster in my hallway, basically, out there. It's in the hallway, like this. I have it out there, hanging. That's the movie. Cool. So, robot design. I'm actually gonna do a little bit of research. I'm gonna look at some things. So let's open up something like Pinterest. And we're just gonna search robot design and see what we get. I think I'm very much the type of person who tries to look for things that look iconic and not just unique, but things that have a certain memorability to them. And I think the most iconic robots in media as a whole is probably the stuff from Star Wars, right? You have like R2-D2, C-3PO, I think K2SO has become an icon in its own right, but then also stuff like the battle droids, all the droids from Star Wars, they're very iconic, right? Like you got, you know, this kind of stuff is very iconic, more this here, right? Like this, very iconic, you know, this thing, if you were a kid ever or had eyes ever, you've seen this before, and you probably, and I think it's definitely something to do with, it feels thin and fragile. It's like a one basic color. It contrasts well with this gun also, and then the head is just a contradiction to everything else because everything else is so lanky and long, and then the head is just this like contrast to that. Same thing with IG-88 here, very much like a thing there. This looks like somebody was like redesigning a thing. That's kind of funny. K2SO also great. You know, they've done a great job. You know, I don't know. Yeah, they started doing these like weird. I remember there was these droids from these ones, the Dark Troopers or something. They're borrowing from the Star Wars aesthetic, but for me, they really felt like they didn't feel unique, or like I would kind of forget them in a weird way, and they just really felt like they were trying to be Star Wars without actually being Star Wars. I think Star Wars can be more unique. And those kinds of things. I think this is the kind of stuff that's like, this is great. You know, it's they look absolutely ridiculous, but they have such gravitas in their things. However, the things with many Star Wars robots, I would almost say, apart from some of the newer stuff, is that they don't have that much in terms of functionality. Like, I think they're just like a little bit like, yeah, you know, stuff moves, you know. You know, it's not like these overly hyper-designed robots like in Elysium robot or Chappie. Don't know if you've ever seen these guys, these kinds of stuff here. This stuff here is very much designed to almost be functioning. I think actually they're quite good designs, but they definitely fall into a category where they are a little bit more forgettable. And you could see, oh, this is because the movie wasn't popular or whatever. No, but I also think it's a kind of design that you're more easily going to see somewhere else. And I think it has something to do with a lot of breakup with the shapes. Like the shapes, they break up quite a lot without anything really standing out. Etc. There's lots of interesting stuff. This is a Chappie. Chappie is very similar to the Elysium robots. HK-47, yes, that's the robot from Old Republic. This is Chappie. Chappie's a little bit more iconic, but I think it's also because of the ears and this like bizarre mouth guard. It has a few things about it that are quite interesting, and then, you know, they also purposely did the thing where it gets an orange arm and the orange flipper and those kind of things. I know Chappie's a weird movie, but it has a special place in my heart. I just, for some reason, really like it. Maybe I should save some of these images, but right now I'm just trying to dilute my brain in a little bit of stuff, figuring out exactly what I want to do. That's always part of the process here. Looking at some robots. Any robots that anyone are like, ooh, these are great. I know that there's some stuff being thrown out here. HK-47, yes, it's the one with the grill on the mouth. Yeah, exactly. HK-47. Oh, there's a higher render thing of it. That's interesting. Or maybe this is like... Oh, it's interesting. HK-47. Look at that head. Whoop. HK was always a little bit bizarre to me because it's just so... It just looks evil. Which I'm like, why would you make a robot that looks evil? I mean, I get that a robot can look evil, but it just looks like somebody was like, let's make it look evil. But then not really the body, just like the face should be kind of evil. But I mean, maybe to an alien, maybe it doesn't look evil. I kind of like these ones from Mandalorian, actually. These guard droids here. I thought they were a little bit interesting. Like, they look kind of stupid, but you can kind of see like a K2SO lower body. But then the head is just kind of... K2SO is brilliant. I love K2SO. It might be like my top 5. You know, something I noticed very, very late in life was... wait, so you have battle droid. Battle droid, right? So we have the classic one, classic battle droid. Look at the head. And then they have the super battle droids. It's just a buff version of the other ones. Like, to me, they were always like this, like completely separate, unique design. But then I look at the head and I'm like, right, it's just like, it's kind of like it just got buff, and they still maintained that head. I thought it was such a subtle, nice little detail, and it has this great, like, a great silhouette. First of all, you know, clean slope above the shoulders there, and then a little asymmetry for the red dot. That's just great. I love that. I like that a lot more than these ones. I mean, they were also kind of interesting. I think they were animated quite well, and they had the cloth and stuff, but it's like, why do they have cloth? They're robots. Like, so they look mysterious. Like, yeah, but it's a robot, you know. Yeah. And this is great, the whole folding stuff here. I'm just taking it all in right now. Taking it all in. It's the Techno Union add to the B1. Right. The Techno Union is the one with the guy, he has like the green head, and then he has like a thing, and then he's like, the Techno Union accepts your proposal, or something like this in the second film. They follow the Sam Mullick routine. What is that? Hello, Gabo. Sam Mullick. Okay, we got like some Star Wars nerds here. That's great. What the hell is... Oh, Mullick. No, what is that? I don't know what that is. What? Timbre. Okay, it's some people here reading on like Wikipedia. You know, when I was young, oh yeah, what, timbre. When I was young, nerds were very different. I mean, kind of like geek culture is obviously a lot more universal now, but I still think there's a divide between what I consider a nerd or a geek and whatever is like the average geek. Like a geek to me is somebody who's like, you know, once a week goes to Wikipedia to read about something. You know, that's like, okay, you're my kind of geek. You're just nerd as fuck. Nice. That's great. What temper? Director. Oh yeah, those these ones from the Clone Wars series. They were actually, that was a bizarre design. I mean, they definitely stay with me because they look so, like, I guess they look kind of like a Pokemon almost in the head, like that. This like weird duck beak kind of thing going on. I thought that was great. I like that a lot more than the one in was it in Rebels Robot? What was that one called? No, okay, Star Wars. Not the droid. Hey, Open, welcome to the stream. We will get to actually drawing some stuff. We're just soaking in some robots right now. Looking at a lot of Star Wars crap. This one, Architect Droid. This was too much for me. This is like, this is not Star Wars. I don't know what this is. It's very bizarre to me. It's like, why do you have a like it, and why do you have that? Why is it not just built into? I did not like this, and then it's a very different kind of. It's like when Star Wars goes more into the fantasy and it becomes like steampunk instead of like sci-fi, which I do not like. I think that's the wrong thing for Star Wars. But Star Wars has been poop for a while now, so whatever. Okay. I kind of like this one. I thought this was funny. It's just like a shaky robot. These ones are great. The little worker droids or whatever they are. They were good. That one was awful. Like, it's not that it's a bad robot design, it's just for Star Wars, I'm like, no, that feels wrong. This one. Okay. Pit Droid. Oh my god. You're just out nerding me right here with the name dropping. That's great. I have some stuff. We're gonna start just putting some lines down here. Hopefully you can all see. Hopefully it's all good. BB-8 was also cool. I also like BB-8 for sure. I thought it was great acting also from BB-8. Like, I thought it was an adorable character. I'm just figuring out what kind of brush I want to use here. Okay, what kind of robot are we doing? We will try just putting out some perspective here, then use that as a guide. Maybe just bring this down here, and then we're gonna go in. So, for me at least right now, when I'm designing robots, then I'm very much thinking about purpose and functionality. Is it so the big questions first, right? Like what kind of, like in the big category, what kind of robot is this? What does it need to do? Is it a humanoid robot, right? Maybe those are the things. Is it a combat robot? Is it a worker robot? Is it a healthcare robot? Whatever it is, right? And then we think about those things. But I think those are things that are just kind of nice to keep in mind. I don't think they necessarily always have to dictate the shapes, because I think it can be a little bit limiting. I think as soon as I think about like, oh, it's a medic robot, then I start just thinking about rounder shapes. You know, and maybe that's fine, but it's just like, if I can avoid thinking too much about shape, then sometimes that's good. I would rather think about functionality and then let that guide the shape stuff. And now I said medic robots, so I'm kind of interested in doing that. And it can still be round, it's like that, it's fine. It's just I don't want to be limited by that. Medic robot. Is that interesting? Is that interesting? Let's just do something here. Let's see. I'm gonna bring out some big shapes. try this kind of stuff. I think like construction skills for like knowing how to draw construction, like constructing in 3D space, is very helpful for making robots, for me at least. Like I completely rely upon it. 3D can also be just like a really good thing. We could use that as a base. I definitely think I might do one where I just make a base or something, and then take it from there. Let's just see here. So you can see these like perspective lines. I put them out just to help me orient myself and orient the stuff that I'm placing down. One of the things I really like with construction drawing is that you know, you start simple, you know, and then you block something out, and this might not be completely correct perspective-wise, but now I have all the stuff that I can help kind of establish some kind of perspective, even if this isn't the robot shape that I necessarily want right now. It's doing something for me, and I'm starting to get more and more familiar with the space in this particular drawing, if that makes sense. Even if I change like the shape up a lot, then I have good I'm gonna get better sense for the space. I hope that makes sense. But I think it's a really important thing, that familiarization with the space that you're drawing in. Custom brushes. So these brushes are. Oh yes, that's another thing. If you have questions during the stream, feel free to ask. Jab in. Ask as many questions as you want. You can ask about what we're doing, or ask about something else. Whatever it is, just shoot. Oh, then we already get some questions there. Schultz, are these custom brushes? These are brushes that I've gathered over 12 years, I think. And they just become my set. I have been meaning to maybe clear out a little bit, because there's many of them I just don't use. I tend to use the same ones again and again and again, so I might want to get rid of a few. And also sometimes I feel like maybe I'm missing some brushes, or I should try out some other brushes. Like I never used this brush, for example. You know, also maybe because it's slow. I never use this brush. But I do sometimes if I'm painting, then I might do something like this. Oh, it has a little bit of texture in it, which is quite nice. But yeah, these are they're not brushes I made, they're brushes I've taken from other packs. Open has a question. Glad to see you. I have a question. I want to add a new sculpting program to my workflow. I don't have a good computer. I have a below average computer powered up. Which program should I use? Should I choose 3D Code or ZBrush? I have not used 3D Code. I have used ZBrush for many years. ZBrush for 2 years. No? 3 years, probably. 3 years. I used ZBrush for 3 years when I was at school. ZBrush is by far the best sculpting tool if you want to do anything like anything high-end. Anything high-end, then I think ZBrush is the best sculpting tool. So if you want to do stuff for like VFX level stuff, like super high poly stuff, like if you want to have 50 million polygons, even if you have a worse computer, 50 million polygons, then ZBrush is the way. I think ZBrush still has the best sculpting feel. The interface in ZBrush is absolutely horrendous. I hate it. It's awful. But some people not swear to it, but some people like it's the only way, and that's fine. 3D Code. I have looked a lot at 3D Code specifically because they have a sculpting mode called like voxel sculpting, where you're sculpting with voxels, which can be really beneficial for Boolean operations and just doing certain kinds of things a little bit different. But you know, I know there's lots of people using 3D Code as part of the workflow. I've definitely decided to use not ZBrush or 3D Code. I use purely Blender. I'm actually gonna do next week, so Thursday next week, I'm doing sculpting. That's gonna be the stream. It's gonna be a sculpting stream, and it's gonna be really important because they made some changes recently to the Blender sculpting that I want to address, and hopefully I can use some of the people watching this stream to go and vote on some proposals I have for some changes over on Blender community. And if you don't want to, that's fine. I'm just gonna give you the option, and that's what that's gonna be next week. We're gonna sculpt the creature or something next week in Blender, which I'm super looking forward to because I love doing that kind of stuff. And so if you're into that, then you should look at it. But actually, I'd recommend using Blender for as much as you can. But it depends on what you want to do. If you want to get into the industry and do like sculpting for film and stuff, then I think it's a really good idea to learn ZBrush. If you're, you know, that's the way. I would say both 3D Code and ZBrush are probably more performant in getting high resolution sculpts over something like a Blender. But you know, yes, I can turn down the music a little bit. No problem. Hopefully that did the trick. Okay, should be good. Actually, I can do it like this instead. I'll do it like this here. And then just turn it down over here. But there we go. Hopefully that should be good. Okay, back to this robot here. Let's see what we're getting. Maybe, you know those drones and stuff where you have stuff like this. Maybe you have like that kind of a camera thing going on underneath. And here we have also, actually, I want to show one of my favorite robot designs ever. And it's kind of stupid because it's not that wild, it's just great. I don't know if you guys remember this short called Atom, which is a thing done by the Unity demo team like a while back. I think it's great. I love it. Like, it's this basically humans trapped in like a robot body, and they're like felons, and then I just think it looks so good. Hello XX Mike, first time chatter here, love stuff. You have a surprisingly wide range of skills. Respect. Yes, I would say I have a wide range of skills to a fault. Like I think it's good to be really, you know, have lots of different skills, but sometimes also wish that I could just be a little bit more focused, you know. But it does mean that I have a lot of kind of cross pollination of skills. So sometimes I'm like, oh, actually, those two things could work like that. Giacomo Bossi, did you see the movie The Creator? No, I have not seen The Creator yet. I have looked at some of the concept stuff for it on ArtStation or something like this, but this is a very strange drawing, so slow. Is it very slow? That's what you're saying. I'm being too slow. I need to speed up. Let's see here. We're probably gonna be doing multiple robots tonight. Like, this is literally also just like a warm-up. Let's see here. Then we can do like these kind of things. No, I haven't seen The Creator yet, but I just watched the Silo, or just Silo, maybe it's just called Silo, on Apple TV. It really surprised me. It was actually quite entertaining. I really like that. Brian Sum is the master of robot design. Don't actually know who Brian. Oh, Brain or Brian? I'm guessing Brian. Brian Sum. Brian Sum. Let's see here. We kind of want. Maybe actually we'll do something like this. This is kind of like a. Maybe these arms are like these like little. Imagine if this thing could rotate like here. But it's on an offset. Then the arm would have this quite weird rotation in space. It'd be a little bit interesting. Did anyone watch the silo, or am I the only one who... I'm currently the only person myself that I know who have watched the silo. It's quite... I think the characters and the dialogue was kind of weak, but the plot itself and I think the production quality and stuff was great, and there was a really good mystery throughout the entire thing, and it just kept me going. And I just really kind of enjoyed it. Nice, we got the robot like that. I'm not really hitting the iconicness that I want to hit right now. I'm still just feeling this is a little bit too... I think it's a good robot, but it's just... I could see this somewhere else. That's maybe my thing. It doesn't feel so distinct. It's a hard thing to quantify. But here's some robot stuff like this. Ryan Taylor watched the Silo. Nice. You got bored? Okay, I think it's kind of like... It's kind of worth going to the end. I mean, I think if the mystery doesn't intrigue you, then it doesn't... I don't think it matters, but... I think the mystery kept me going. I was like, oh, I want to see what... I want to know what happens. I thought the set design was quite good. But it wasn't like amazing in any way. I was just quite... It was... I guess maybe I was thinking it was just gonna be like kind of mediocre. But yeah. You know, I'm doing these robots for, you know, a world that's already established, like my own sci-fi world. But I have only a few designs for some of the robots. Plexiglass asks, do you have any tips and advice modeling real stuff without blueprints? I want to model a real thing that doesn't have blueprints yet, and I don't really know where to start from. Wait, so you're saying you want to make something that's, you know, just like a fictional thing, basically. So like you want to make a, let's say I want to invent a new gun, then here's the new gun. There's no blueprints to it, and then this is a new gun. You know, it's a shape, it's a design, like that. Right. Okay. So I'm guessing that's what you're saying. You want to model something from imagination, right? That's or are you saying that you want to just look at a picture where you don't have blueprints for it, so you don't have like the side view and stuff like this? Is that the... Right. Okay. Okay. You want to make a car that exists. Okay. I think that's not really something I have a lot of experience with, but I would say using reference photos, then try to break down the perspective on the stuff. Like literally do measurements. Like I know lots of people who've done this for work, and then you try to break down the markers. Like if I have a car, let's just say future car. I'll find something stupid here. Give me a full picture of this thing. Like here. No, that's terrible. This one. Right. If I have this one, and I need to break this thing down, then I think what I would do is like, you know, I would try to break this down into its simplest components. Like, okay, it's a box, you know, and then the box goes maybe up until here, something like that, and then I have my, you know, my rough proportions, and then once I have my rough proportions, then it's a lot easier to figure out this angle, because it's like it's almost like I'm carving it out of the box. And the same thing with these things, like, okay, what's the measurement here between here? Like there's a ratio of those things, right? And then the same thing with the wheels. It's like, okay, what's the ratio here? And once you have that line like this, you can literally, you know, create your own blueprint like this, right? So this side here, right there, of the car, like that, you know, you can make your own blueprint if you just keep these ratios this way. It's like math, you know, it's kind of like math. If you can just break it down based on the perspective, then you could make your own materials. I would just try to really start simple, and then just like block out stuff like with quick easy shapes in Blender or something, and just see if you can match the overall proportions, and then slowly make your way. I think the biggest mistake you could make is like trying to make details immediately. But see if you can place stuff like the wheels. Like the more stuff you can place that feels accurate, and you know it's like, okay, that's probably the right measurement, the more stuff you have for your brain to like be like, okay, then that detail is probably there. I would try to do those kind of things. I mean, the whole process here will be online. You know, it'll be there to rewatch afterwards. Who wrote something? Apart from Star Wars, where do you think one can find some really cool reference for robots? I actually don't think there's that many places for great robots, in my opinion. It's actually a hard thing, I think. I find robots here and there. I'm like, okay, I like that robot. I think Star Wars just has a, unlike most things, Star Wars has a very good identity in like how they make stuff, and I think that's often the issue with like robot design, is that people don't know what to do with their visual identity and those kinds of things. But there are some good robots outside of Star Wars, I think, in very different degrees. I'm trying to think of something on top of my head. Boston Dynamics is great. Yeah, obviously they're real world robots. I think hopefully everyone is looking at those things all the time, because they're amazing. Yeah, now I'm just thinking about like robots. I quite like the robot they did in Starfield robot. It was called, no, yeah, okay, sure, robot companion. He was called Vasco. I think this was a good robot. It felt interesting. I memorized it. It's like, sure, the color palette is unique, but it's a little bit like the design is a little bit awkward in the good kind of way, where it's like, okay, that's it. Top of the tank. It had this is a good, I like this one a lot, actually. Like I would have done it slightly different, but I think it was really cool. I'm just gonna put it over here on my pure ref. And then there is Robot Infinite Warfare. I think this one was really good. I think it's such a, like, I've never seen this kind of a detail before, like this like metal shroud around the thing, and then these rotating arm links, and I think basically what happens is that there's like a belt in here, or like a track, and then the track goes back to the arm, and that's what pulls the arm up and down really fast. You can kind of see it over there. Or maybe it's just for bullets, but either way, I quite liked it. I thought it was a very interesting choice. But I wouldn't say Call of Duty is a great place to find robots. I think this is the only thing that does kind of great. You know, there's something about like the simplicity of like, this is so blah, but then the head is just like poof, like kind of contrast rich. It makes it a little bit interesting. Like I don't mind this design. It's I think with like there's robots and then there's like mechs. I think Avatar mech suit, the exosuit or whatever. Like this is a great design. Like very like that the shoulders are so exaggerated upwards. It made them really stand out. I think like if the shoulders had just been down there, they would have looked like this thing. Like it also has the shoulders upwards, but just a tad bit more generic than this is just pushed a little bit more, and the feet and the lower legs are so over the top. But this is a mech suit; it's not really a robot. I think that actually just gonna save this just for memorabilia here. I'm kind of blanking on stuff. There's also District 9 mech. I think the District 9 mech, I remember it, but I think it's a little bit. I feel like I could see it somewhere else. It gives me a little bit like the Moose vibe from Chappie. You know, this thing here. Like they're not the same thing, but it's I think it's a nice robot, but it's just I'm gonna forget about it. Like if I saw this in Metal Gear Solid or something, I probably wouldn't be that surprised. That's kind of my point. It's like the identity is not really there, I think. Metal Gear Solid does have some cool robots here and there. Metal Gear Solid robot. They have those ones that are like tall and weird and lanky, right? Like you see, this one could almost be like the Moose we just looked at before. I know it's a little bit more angular and stuff, but it's just, where's the identity? This is a little bit more like something else is going on here with the legs and the silhouette and things. That's one way. Like I've done some robots, you know, myself in the recent past. Like I've done this kind of stuff here. I think this is quite a different kind of robot. You know, it's like a very organic kind of robot, but I wanted something that looked very distinct and very different from anything. And this is like a larger mech, so the person sitting in there, and then something like that, right? And I think the goal is for this thing to be like iconic. I want you to remember this thing, and there's kind of like a simplicity, and there's not that many materials going on, and then very clear shapes and those kind of things. And then there is stuff. Actually, I have a robot down here that I kind of like. This one, it's a service droid. I'm probably gonna call it just a robot, but basically you could, you know, it has the ridiculous heads, it has the materials, and it's more expensive than it's useful. So that's one, and then I have these guys, the Vox here. They look like, it's kind of their heads like that. They're supposed to feel somewhat creepy, but they have a body that they designed themselves, and then they also have these things, and they're supposed to always have 5 lights. That's kind of their identity marker. I quite like this. It's very narrow blade-like legs, and then also blade-like heads, and these are their planes. And the idea is that these robots, they don't fly planes. Like a plane is just an individual, so that's why it's like really flat, so that it doesn't feel like a human could sit in it or something like that. That's kind of, and this is bubble. They do other robots? I don't think so. Maybe there's some over here. No. Maybe over here? No, maybe over here. Yeah, these ones also. These are not so great. Like, they're a little bit like, yeah, they're not the best. I did this like flying droid that uses like kind of dragonfly wings to fly. But I want to expand on, yeah, there we go. It's called Vector. I want to expand on this library. Matrix Ghost Runner. Anthem. Okay, so you know, I think I'm probably super critical when it comes to like robot designs or like just designs in general. But for example, Horizon Zero Dawn for me is too much. Like I think like in terms of like design quality, it's obviously very high design quality. But for me, they are too cluttered. Like I think it's like, okay, clearly this is like a weird wolf thing, but there's just so much micro shapes and stuff going on that I think they lose a lot of like, they feel a little bit too gamey to me. That they feel a little bit over designed with like, okay, you do need this many shapes on this thing to have a clasp. I think they lack a little bit of the simplicity that I think Star Wars is really, really good at. And that's kind of my thing. And you could say that it's a style, and sure it's a style, but I think there's a way to do this even within this world that can feel good. Some are stronger than others. Like obviously this is one of the stronger ones, but I think this kind of, okay, that's the Lego variant. Where's the actual? It's still the Lego variant. That's just the most popular one. This is a pixel variant. Horizon Zero Dawn giraffe. Giraffe is the tall neck or whatever. Like I think the tall neck is probably the coolest one out of them because of this simplicity. But I kind of wish that the forms within the stuff were a little bit simpler and cleaner. I think it would do really, really nice things for the design and the overall readability. And this is my general gripe with like stuff from Horizon Zero Dawn. Like I think it's, and that's a personal taste. I know lots of people love it, but that's just how it is. People in the chat, lots of stuff being written. Sorry, Leon Runner, also welcome to the chat, stream or whatever. Adija, Matrix Mech, like the tentacle robots. Oh, this one, the Matrix Mech. This was the Matrix robot. Exosuit, that's great. Alien exosuit. This one. That one is great. No doubt. Or from Aliens. You know, from the second Alien. This is perfect, iconic, great, awesome. Exactly what it's supposed to be. Look at it. That is star power right there. And you can have detail, I just think it needs to be, I would balance it out. That's all I'm saying. Giacomo Bosi, welcome. Also, I like the mechs from Ghost Runner 1 and 2, right? Sousa Pictures, what's up, man? Hey, hello, welcome. Armored Core, specifically Armored Core. Armored Core also, it's too much for me. I'm not saying it's not great, it's just, it's the design, it's too much. Like, it's too out there. Like, it's, like, they're cool, but if I saw this in some other thing, I probably wouldn't be able to identify that it's exactly from Armored Core. I don't feel the identity. And if you're like a big Armored Core fan, then obviously you're gonna be like, oh, it has very strong identity. Well, but I think, you know, Transformers, there's some really iconic Transformers. Absolutely iconic Transformers, like, obviously, like, look at it. It's a big red guy with blue legs. Optimus Prime and Bumblebee. You know, even in the movies, they kind of like did an okay job of to have this Power Rangers swords. Bulgarov's mechs are awesome, 100,000%. That is true. Vitar Bulgarov. Vitaly Bulgarov. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, I love Bulgarov stuff. Like some more than other stuff, but I love this, for example. This is great. This is awesome. I love this. It's the best. There's some cool stuff. I think what I like about this is like, I feel like there's a really clear idea and an interesting play of materials, like this like kind of plasticky stuff contrasting this like very clear shiny metal. It just feels very, very good. I really like it. There's probably lots of robots that are great. I cannot for that. I think stuff like Wall-E is also great. Like I think from Wall-E. Ultron is a very interesting design. I think Ultron, there's been several iterations of Ultron. You know, there's always the film version, but then there's this kind of more comic book variant where the head is way more extreme. I think Ultron is also a pretty iconic design. Also, even something like the Vision, which I know is just a human, but it's kind of like, it's kind of interesting. Okay, back to the robot. We're not drawing, we're just looking. Okay, I'm gonna stick to the drawing now. There we go. This robot is saying it wants to be red, no? Hulkbuster. Hulkbuster is also a thing. This red maybe shouldn't be red. Maybe it should be more like. Whoop. Like this, kinda. Then we have that going on. So we got that going on there. There. And maybe we have some kind of maybe it's kind of like a microscope thing where, you know, you have those like different heads that can like turn on a microscope. You like microscope. Like this, right? You have those three different heads you can switch between. Maybe it's something like that, more than like a drone thing. And then, because it kind of looks like I can grab something with these arms here. So maybe it's some kind of a maintenance droid or something along those lines. And it kind of has this natural space in here for dealing with things in there. So I think that makes a lot of sense. I like that. So the original idea was actually like a military drone camera for a head. That was kind of the inspiration, but now I feel like doing this like microscope thing. I think it could look interesting. And the thing is that probably, and these are one of the things I really like thinking about. This would probably not use these ones for navigating the terrain, right? So if you have a robot, then you want to think about like how it navigates and moves about. And I think lots of people like either use LiDAR or use visual stuff, right? Like having lots of cameras. I'm kind of the impression that like cameras is the superior one. That's what we use, human eyes. It's more adaptable. It just requires more thinking and software. But then once you got that, then it's worth it. Where LiDAR will give you an actual representation of the 3D environment, so you can kind of do something different. It could have both, but I like thinking those kind of details in my designs. You know, it gives a little bit of that functionality. So you will see that on all my designs that I've been trying to make those things work. So if I was a robot here, then maybe I would have a piece of glass, or maybe I'd have cameras like this, almost like a VR headset. You know, have cameras like here and there, like that and there, to help navigate the world. And I love those kind of things because that gives me a little bit of limitation in the design to help shape the overall thing. This does feel quite spider-like, but that's not a bad thing at all. Let's see here, and then we're dealing with something in there. Got some wires and things in here. Okay, let's see. Maybe we can select this. Yeah, we can kind of select this. Select, modify, contract, 2 pixels. Like this here. Boink. Let's see here. Gotta do this, gotta do that. This just gives me a good base to work with. Like, I kind of like doing this stuff quite sketchy, so I can get into color very fast and then define a lot of the stuff with color. You know. Okay. Probably get rid of the perspective there. We could probably clean up the line a little bit here and there. Okay, so we got this robot guy right there. Then maybe we want to figure out a color scheme. And I'm thinking maybe white, or maybe we do this thing where everything is quite, that's the thing. You know, what if a little bit of blackness going on here? Kind of like this track, this music thing. Makes me feel like the robot is a little bit more mysterious than it probably is. You see, I want to keep my groupings of color very simple. And I think it can help a lot with readability of stuff. Or, you know, like something like this, then and I'm really feeling the, like, you know, your stuff is separated, and this feels kind of creepy in an interesting way. Maybe this is like a little bit more of a, not a sinister, but like a robot that's meticulous about something that you don't want it to be meticulous about, if you get my drift. Which is why now I'm thinking that, because I was actually thinking that maybe it should be white, like this, you know, but that just doesn't feel, oh, that could also be creepy in a different way. It's the red pulse box. like that. Like I'm going out, zooming out a lot just to see the big read, right? You can see the kind of, it feels almost naked, and it's a robot. That's kind of weird. Let's see here, maybe. Oh, I didn't put this on a separate thing. Okay, let's go white. Let's go white, and then we'll clean this up a little bit here. It is not quite white. It's like this kind of off-white. Maybe we can have just one of these dogs being. It's a little bit like it's a like a white spider, which I kind of like. Also, this really gives it like a spider look, you know, with like the 8 eyes. And see, we don't even have 8 arms, which is kind of, that would be the generic thing to do, or the classic thing to do. Let's be nice here. Oh no, it is this thing where I need to reopen it. Open new remix. There we go. You see, I just saved. And we can put in some red here. Let's see how we want to do this red stuff. Is this like internal kind of thing? I kind of really want to have like a wire kind of thing flying somewhere. Maybe we'll have a little light here. Maybe just here. Steal that from the battle droids. Simplicity. Susa pictures. Where do you live? So you live with 2 Danish people. Do you live in Denmark then? Or you just happen to be... Or just like really randomly live with Danish people? I would love it if you're Danish and then it's like, oh, I'm living with 2 Danish people. It's like, okay, great. You live in Spain? Okay. And there's 2 Danish people living with you in Spain? What do you do for... Are you... I don't know, are you a student? Are you... 76? What's your life? Okay, kind of like these like simple things like this. I always spend a lot of time like figuring out the exact color balance between stuff. Like what's the ratio between this and this and this, and obviously there's like a large, medium, small kind of thing going on, right? You got lots of white, you got a little bit of black, and then red. But most of all, I'm just thinking a lot about contrast and how I kind of want to make a little bit more asymmetry here. Make this one black. The other one isn't. Oh, is that just really annoying, or is the whole arm is black? Maybe something like that. Student, okay, you're from Sweden. Okay, okay. And you study in Spain? I live with I have a Swedish roommate, so I'm I know all about you guys. Maybe the head isn't white necessarily, maybe the head should be a different color. And you can see I'm also keeping my layers really separate. And that's because I want to do like a material pass afterwards, and then it's just really nice that they are separate. Oh, that looks kind of freaky. It makes it more like a spider when the red head is there. I think I like the... I don't know if you should do this one. Is that Turkish music? I don't know. I actually think I'm gonna take a small break, then come back and keep drawing on this kind of stuff. But let's catch up in 5 minutes. Vada pow. We're back. We're back. The stream is on again. Oh, I timed that perfectly. Like, that feels like exactly 5 minutes. It was just kind of random because I was just talking to my roommate in the other room, and then I was like, nah, now it feels like a good time. But then it was just almost exactly 5 minutes. How great is that? Okay. I got a little piece of. This is a leak. Wait, so let's pretend this is. It's my it's a Christmas calendar. My roommate gave, because I was like, oh, we don't have any chocolate, but my roommate gave me a chocolate from my Christmas calendar. But it's not Christmas calendar time until tomorrow. Don't tell anyone. I can't actually open this because I'm. Have you saved? Yes, I have saved. I have saved. What the hell? The hell is that? It smells weird. Oh. It's like a caramelly chocolate. Like this inside. That is strange. You know, in China it's Christmas. So, but they don't really, they probably don't celebrate with Christmas calendars. So, actually I wonder where they, Australia. Australia, they probably celebrate with Christmas calendars. That seems likely. I don't know. It's the 1st of December there, isn't it? It's the 1st of December tomorrow, right? It is. Well, it did look like a dog treat. It almost tastes like a dog treat in a weird way. Wait. See this? You all know what this is? This is an elastic ball. It's an elastic ball I made. And I want to tell you the weird thing about it. It's an elastic ball made of elastics from burgers that I've ordered from the burger place on the street. Because when the burger arrives, there's an elastic around it. It's messed up. I know, I'm awful. Gabo writes, just started following on ArtStation, your work is incredible. Oh, I appreciate that, thank you. You're also an illustrator, great. Are you you work in the industry? Who was that wrote red band on the neck? That was Adija. I was actually just thinking about a red band on the neck when I was walking out. And I was like, oh yeah, that could be a red little ring there. Damn it, I don't like it. I thought it was gonna be great. I don't like it. It's not, it could have been, but it's just, it doesn't feel right. No, it's all... No, I don't like that. That's... I'll figure out after I do a material pass. Okay. Material pass. One of the more interesting things. I love doing material passes, but actually I think I'm gonna do a little bit of a shadow pass first. I think that could actually be kind of neat. Multiply. So I'm gonna just do... Gonna figure out the sides here of everything. Everything that is a side. This robot. Side, 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 and probably also the underside-ish. Could also be this one here, like that. Definitely all this stuff here. Probably that kind of stuff, like that. Like so, like that. Then everything is gonna come to life. I want to do another robot after this one where we use a little bit of 3D as a base. That also means we get an opportunity to think a little bit differently, which I would like. You know, just not thinking even more in space. Space as in a three-dimensional space. Oh, what's going on with the music? Okay, just see what it does. Like, poof, poof. Right, then it immediately forms the whole thing. Like that. Like that. Like so. I work for studios here in Argentina. Oh, nice. Awesome. Oh, you want the throat singing to come. You... Oh, fuck. Oh, that was embarrassing. Let's see if I can do it. You... Wait. You... Yeah, okay. It's not a good day for throat singing, but there we go. This big soft thing here, and then let's get a little bit of a maybe a screen thing going. I only want it on this stuff here, so I can use that as a mask like this. So here right now, I'm not really thinking about, like I am thinking about light, but more than anything, I'm actually just thinking about the material and how the material behaves relative to the light. So it's kind of thinking about both actually to make this work. But it's just what's the surface quality of this thing. And right now it's just kind of like not shiny, but also not mega rough. So somewhere in between, like this kind of semi rough material. That's why it has these big broad highlights. Oh, and I don't want it there. Like that. A throat singing session on Discord. I don't even know what that means, but it sounds epic. Okay, let's see here. Oh, look at that. That's kinda cool. That is kinda cool. And then you can always do these things, and then you still kinda, you have that robot there, right, with the shadows. Let's see here. Then I want to figure out these blacker parts, and I actually think it could be cool to have something that behaves a little bit differently, more like a bigger kind of shine. Or is it even rougher? That's what I don't. That's what I can't actually tell. No, I think this is even more rough. A few bits and thing here can be quite shiny. Like these things here, I think be a little bit metallic. And definitely this kind of stuff here can be very, very shiny. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of that contrast in terms of shininess, and maybe I can even go further here. Do things like this. It's kind of interesting when it's not white, right? It's like, ooh, kind of want to see what it looks like with the. Oh, is that the wrong one? Colorize. You can just change the colors, and then I think the white one still works. It's like it has that. Oh no, it's happening again. Don't know what that is. Photoshop just sometimes is like, what the hell, you know? I mean, a warmer white, like you're saying, Schultz, not ignoring you, my brain. A warmer white is definitely like a little bit more comfortable, but the kind of thing we had was like just so like creepy. Like it has that like, but maybe we can just, we also just desaturate it. Then it has that like very cold kind of thing. Maybe actually this is a little bit nicer. Oh really, that's the bug? That's the thing when you zoom on the canvas and then it just gets stuck. Is there a way to undo the bug without closing the program? Right, without closing the file? That's actually really good to know. I did not know that. I mean, I knew it was a bug, I did not know. I guess I kind of knew when it happened, but not precisely, so whatever detail you got for me there. Yeah, okay. Let's get in like an ambient occlusion pass here. You can see even from, we're getting that kind of a feel here. Multiply. Want to do a little bit of ambient occlusion on some of these areas. Just some places where we could use it. interest areas. Doop, 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 doop. Okay, I think I'm ready to move on from this robot. I think it's the idea is there. I feel confident that I know what. I just did it again. I wonder what. Because you can't even. I mean, you can hit these ones, and then can you say, fill screen, zoom all windows, F. See, even when I do this F here, then the canvas is just stuck. Oh, you can't. Okay. Canvas freezes Photoshop zooming. Oh, there is a fix for it. And disable native canvas. Then apparently you can. Okay, I want to try that. I'm just gonna save this file again. Then I'm gonna just close faces file. This is fine. Close this one. Then apparently if you go to preferences, general, and then you go to technology previews. Enables the option if you're experiencing problems with 3D content or. Okay, what is that? Wanna try that? Just restarting Photoshop here. So that's apparently there's a thing there. Yeah, exactly. It's the vendor of the canvas that doesn't work. A teacher says, what if you add sheen to white parts like those dual tone materials? Dual tone materials? Like, so you just want like, or you're thinking like a clear coat almost? Like kind of this like layer on top of everything in a way. Let's see if it, wait, what is it doing now? Is it? Scrub resume. Maybe this canvas is a little bit less snappy. A color clear coat, like silk fabric. Oh, right. So you're thinking, it's almost like iridescence. I guess with white, that typically doesn't work that well. But maybe there's like a, there's this kind of effect, like on a car. That's kind of an interesting thing. I would actually do that. Maybe a color dodge kind of thing would. I always found iridescence super hard to paint. Could be like a thing around these kinds of highlights here. Not like that. That's not what you're thinking. But now we're trying this. Yeah, no, this is not really. This would definitely work better if it was. What if we just make it? Just gives it a little bit of an off color here. Like you can always do like little things like, you know, I think we could add some little imperfections around the corners and things like this. So I feel like it's kind of been used. Scratches. Those kinds of things, you know. But I would probably have a lot more detail. Like I would probably have a lot nicer line before I would do this kind of stuff. But I think especially around these areas where stuff is turning, then you can really have all kinds of little stuff. All this little kind of. Oh right, I guess it looks a little bit like titanium alloys. It is really interesting when it gets black. Okay, that was robot number 1. We need a name for this robot. So if you guys have names, start shooting now so we can name this robot. We're gonna move on to robot number 2 over here. And we're actually gonna open up Blender here. I'm opening up Blender 3.0, I should get in the habit of opening 4.0. You know, I'll just remove this one. There we go. The robot is something that can like analyze stuff. You know, it'll get a thing in here, like some kind of cube, some kind of maybe a relic or something, some kind of thing in here that it can operate and scan. Like that. Right? Makes sense? Beetle. It's a scanner. Scanny boy. Scan stuff. It analyzes stuff. It's an analyzer. That's what it does. It's not a medic robot. It's not a medic robot. It's an analyzer. Robert. Yes, I have found some differences with the AJX. I do think the AJX thing is nice. It's not that I didn't think the filmic was nice. I think filmic was also quite nice. I think the AJX thing, it makes particularly kind of like sunlight looks a little bit nicer. So if you have like a very strong directional light, it's like it feels like there's just a little bit more. It feels a little bit more real, honestly. To be frank. So that is one thing there. Okay, let's see here. You know, I'm always really bad at. Oh, I hate the new modifier thing here. I like the old one. If I bisect this, what actually happens. Then I get that, right? But then you can't do that. Okay. I should use metaballs. Okay. I'll use metaballs. I will use metaballs. We're not making the same robot, by the way. We're making a different robot, but it is an interesting proposition. So now we need to mirror the metaballs. How do we mirror metaballs? That is the interesting bit. We use geometry nodes. Plane here. Great, new geometry node setup. And then we get a object info. Node here, we get this one. There we go. Then geometry, then we set transform geometry. We scale it in the -x. Like so. Join geometry. Yeah, that should be enough, right? Like that. Exactamundo. Okay. I actually have used some metaballs in the past for making some robots. Plane here. I think I should instance the collection instead of using GeoNodes. Why should I instance the collection? Oh, you retracted the... Oh, that's sometimes when instancing is a good thing, especially if you want speed for certain things. Right now I'm just playing with shapes. I'm just figuring out what kind of realm to even be in. Oh, maybe I'm seeing something. This is just to have some kind of base to build from. Like this, like that. Plane. Double subdivision surface workflow is good for robots too. Set the first to simple and second to Cat and Clark. This gives a nice bevel look and easy to make changes. 100%. That's also a super nice thing. So the idea for this one is that I'm actually I'm going to use it as a perspective base, and then I'm going to draw on top in Photoshop. Oh. So this Blender file will probably stop existing after I'm done with this initial block out, once I have what I need from this one. I'm just not sure if I... No, I'm not really liking this. Maybe it's because the legs are just not what I want. Oh, what if it's like a... It's a walker. So like a two-legged walker, kind of like a... Yeah, maybe that's more fun. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. So we're gonna have some kind of thing like this. Something like that. We're gonna have something. Maybe we have... don't like. What if it's a rideable mech? So it's kind of like this two-legged, like a motorcycle almost, or like a camel kind of. You sit on top of it, and then you know you kind of have your saddle up there. And then you're just riding it like that. I mean, I'm sure it's been done before, but it's like an ostrich basically. It is more of a vehicle, but maybe it's like a companion droid that you can also ride. It almost looks a little bit like a, you know, like a mantis shrimp. Like it kind of, that's kind of interesting, you know. Doof, doof. Then you know the mantis shrimp. Mantis shrimp. Like this guy. He has little clubs that you can kind of like punch with. And it's giving me mantis shrimp vibes, especially around here. I like that. This is good. This is what we're doing. Okay. Let's get a picture of this guy. Should we get it with the coordinate system? Yeah, that's probably nice. Actually, getting it like that. Bring it in here. Put this in a little collection. Then get this guy. Open up here. So bring that down. Then we can go into a little bit more detail right away. Yeah, something like that. So I want to figure out what's going on with these kinds of legs here, and maybe it's just a little bit more. So we have this saddle kind of thing going on here. Like that. So that's where you kind of sit, and then maybe there's some kind of bar or something going on like here. I don't see the cursor for my brush. That's very annoying. Huh. Was it just there before? Wait. Let me just see here. Yeah, it was just there before. Oh, the cursor's gone. I see the plus here, but I don't see the circle stuff. 2D. If I could only use either 2D or 3D, then I would use 2D. Oh, actually, it's a tough question. I mean, it depends on what it's for. If it's for me, like for my own personal loving of making stuff, then I think 2D, for sure. If it's for work, then I might say 3D. Just because, I don't know. If I had to choose if my work was only 2D or 3D, I would probably still say 2D. But if I want to do my own projects, and I could only do 3D or 2D, then with 3D I feel like I could do a lot more kind of stuff. No, I think 2D, because then I could make like a comic or something. I would probably do that. If I could only do 2D, then I would probably make a comic, and I'd probably rather do that than try to make like a movie in 3D on my own. So 2D, I'd say 2D. 2D. Well, this is annoying that I can't see the cursor, but we'll deal with it. Okay, these legs here, they need to become something. So maybe they have this kind of a vibe to them. What the hell is caps lock? I did not know that. What is that? Oh my god, should you just have all the answers? What the hell is that? Oh. Is that a new thing, or has it just always been there and then... Oh my god. I did not know that. What does that do? Oh, it's just, I guess it's just like a, oh, then you don't have to have the cursor size. I've been using Photoshop for 15 years, my dude. It's like, duration and time does not equal skill. But I also say that if you look at my Photoshop setup, this is basically the default Photoshop setup. I just like working with software in the most basic form that it has. What is the caps lock thing though? What is the caps lock thing? I mean, Schultz, obviously you know way more about Photoshop. I'm not that great at using Photoshop. I was never, you know, I know layers. I can kind of draw, But what is the caps lock thing? Or maybe you know what it's called. I guess it's just like a precision thing or something. Well, I'm glad that I get the opportunity to learn something on these streams. Honestly, that is not a bad thing at all. Which means that now I'm gonna start expecting people to show up who know stuff about things so I can learn something. You know. That's why I built this community. It was to trick you guys into learning me things over time. You know. That's just how it works. Maybe a little cylinder here. Good measure. Going into some kind of weirdo form. Okay, circle and brush would be right. All Adobe programs have serious beef with caps lock. Of course. I really like this square shape, but I'm trying to get the square shape in, but in a different way, by not just having it be square. That's why I'm creating all these weird tendons to maintain those kinds of shapes, and then hopefully make them somehow practical or something. It's a little bit of a brain challenge, but I think this thing is actually oriented in a slightly different way that I maybe don't like. The question is, where's this guy's eyes? Are they actually up here, like the mantis shrimp kind of thing that we were talking about? I mean, that is the more funny thing, right? If they're like that, and then these are what, footrests kind of stuff. What is happening here? Behind this thing, there's kind of a surface kind of thing going on. Oh, they're a little bit like those ostriches in World of Warcraft. You guys remember those? The mechanical ostriches. Let's see. Okay, let's try. I still kind of like these ones. Maybe we can connect them like this. Photoshop 7, yeah, I think that's that is probably there's probably that many. Yeah, that fits. Maybe we can dig into this shape here a little bit. Or something, and create some weird ligaments or something. To give it some structure. I really want to keep these eyes the way they are here. I just think they're really funny. Maybe we'll make it one big glass tube like this. Then we put in like 2 eyes like this. And we can get a little bit of Baymax going on there, huh? And these are actual eyes. There's their cameras, right? But they are the eyes. Oh, this one is pretty cute. Look at it. And then we need some kind of bizarre handle thing. It's coming in. Okay, let's remove this thing here. Let's just deal with this guy. It's not the best overlap right there, but this kinda has something that I like about it. It has like a this contrast between these like big round legs and then. But I think actually I need to decrease it in size a little bit so that I can put a guy on it. I know we're losing a lot of resolution by doing that, but that's okay. Just need to see how big a person is on this thing. Feels way too big. Even though the seat is kind of what the seat is telling me it should be. Bizarre too. You know what? Maybe it's just because it's not a human that writes it. It's like a weird little alien. It's specifically a mammalian, which is one of the races in my world. They kind of look like this. And they are quite small. They have forearms. They have legs. They're not amazingly big. Actually, you know what? I think that's actually what needs to happen. Is that it's someone like that who writes it instead. Oh, I did this really cool one at some point. I want to see if I can find it actually. I did this design for a friend at some point. Like this here. It's basically like a big mech robot suit, and there's a tiny little red like guy in it, and the idea was like the whole silhouette should be, you know, like a mech cowboy, but then the head is kind of the only thing that's like, yeah, you get it right. So it's still, if you saw it in black and white, then it would be like it would be like that. How would I actually do this? Okay, maybe a little bit more. Can I say select subject? Wait. Select subject. Just give me the whole shebang. Yeah, boy. Yeah, like that, right? So if you actually saw the silhouette, you'd be like, right, that's just a guy. But then it's like, oh no, it's an alien in a giant or in a mech suit. And I was like, ah, that's cool. Kind of want to polish this one up. Yeah, like a Western Krang, exactly, like from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah, this is the, now we got the stuff happening. Okay, let's bring this back to scale, kinda like here. Then we're gonna draw a guy who's a little bit cooler. Looks like he's smiling there. We're gonna have this contrast with the guy. He looks a little bit more angry and kind of mean looking, and then the actual ostrich butt is it's kind of maybe cutesy. It's gonna kind of undermine his coolness. In hopefully a slightly funny way. I have a little bit of overlap here with some arms. Maybe he's holding a small gun. Something along those lines. Like that. Okay, cool. I have this thing here. I really want to play with this a little bit more, so I want to maybe give it, like, I'm not quite sure what this thing is yet. Maybe we can combine some things here. Give it a little bit more. That just makes it look like it has a bra on, or maybe they are arms. What if they are arms and they can kind of unfold? Maybe they kind of sit in here and they can come out like this. Whoop. Like a T-Rex. Whoop. Whoop. Like that. No. Maybe it's the back that needs something. Some tubing going onto the arms. Like the arms I had. Just wondering if I should have. Yeah, it's desert terrain, right? That's what it feels like. I think it's just kind of like automatically going in that direction. And then the question is if it should have handles like this, but I don't think so. I think maybe more like a central. I kind of want to imagine this thing from the side. So we've got that kind of a thing. We've got the head kind of thing. We've got that thing going on there. That's kind of what's going on here. Then maybe we have this kind of a thing. Then we have this kind of a thing. Then we have that kind of a thing. Yeah, it could be like a thing where it's like packing stuff, you know? Like things like that to make it seem a bit more like something is going on. Maybe that is kind of fun, actually. I still don't know about this front. I think it's maybe I just need to like I was like, oh, maybe I should just change the head so that the head is more something, but I'm honestly not sure. Because somehow I like that it's so ridiculously small, it kind of makes it feel... This is kind of... Yeah, you know what? We'll try this. Let's just try getting this wrapped in... Ooh, excuse me. Let's try this here. Then maybe we can paint on top of it a little bit. Yeah, it's okay. Select like small horns. Yeah, I was thinking about that. It's the man flu. What the hell is the man flu? Is it the violent sneezing? Like you know, it's funny about sneezing. Like, I was talking to my Swedish roommate, and we have the opposite sneeze. So you typically don't hear my sneeze coming. It'll be like, and then if I get to properly sneeze, then I'll yell and be like, you know, like it's a very violent kind of thing. But you won't hear it coming. He has exactly the opposite. So he's like, ah! You know, like it's like, I don't know which one is more bizarre, but I just think it's just really funny. It's just such a funny discovery. We're like, oh, okay, it's like how opposite sneezes. Yeah, he's 100% got the 50-year man sneeze. That is exactly what it is. Okay, let's see here. The color for this thing. Maybe like a faded, kind of weird, faded kind of green. I'm gonna give this some random color kind of stuff going on here. Just give it a little bit of sparkle here and there, just to get some stuff going. Maybe grab something like this thing to create a little bit of wear and tear here and there. And then a little bit of sun bleach. Way too powerful, this one. There we go, that's better. It's just something on the top, kind of these things here. There's a base layer for everything. There we go. Then now we can go and carve stuff out. So we'll do all these things kind of like blackish. Let's just begin with that. maybe even have a little bit more like that. Opening up. Those kinds of things there. That's good. We have this kind of thing right there. We have, yeah, we have this underside thing. That can become part of it. Like that. And you can see how we can really like control the feel and look of this thing. We're getting a good separation between everything here. I'm just keeping these like areas really simple and nice, kind of. There we go, and probably also separate out the seat here. Yeah, that's probably the right thing. Then we could probably do some local coloration on these guys. So the seat here, what color should it be? Should we just be like lame and go for like a orangey kind of like look? Is that what we're doing? Is that what we're doing? That's what we're doing. Doing. Then these guys will be like eyes, and this whole thing will probably maybe be covered in glass. That's at least what I was thinking. Here we can have a few of these guys. There, like there, like there, like there. Hi there, do you think good drawing skills are necessary for creating 3D art in general? Love your work. No, I do not think it's necessary. But I do think that... no, it's not necessary at all. Like, I know lots of great 3D artists who can't draw, basically. I do recommend, however, for people to try to learn a little bit of drawing, even if they're doing 3D. Not so that they can necessarily use it professionally, but it's a really helpful skill to think in certain dimensions. I know lots of 3D artists who also ask and who are like, I kind of want to get better at maybe doing imaginative work or doing whatever kind of stuff. And I think drawing is a cool thing because drawing is very, very fast at putting down an idea. Like, if you want to put down the idea of, let's say, a space plane fire truck, then in 3D that might take a little bit of time, where for me, like, I can kind of do the idea like okay, it's like boop, boop, and then maybe it has the hose here, you know, and the water tank like this. And this is not a great design, right? But it's a lot faster than what you probably be able to get in 3D. So even just having it as like a little bit of a tool to help you iterate stuff, even if you're not that good at it, I think it can be really worth practicing. And another thing I will say is that your level of drawing in terms of like construction drawing, so like this kind of drawing, or like drawing, you know, like if I'm doing like a guy like this here, you know, constructing the body, you know, there's the rib cage, here's the arms, here's the things like this, then I can do muscles like this, etc. This kind of drawing here, right? I would call this construction drawing. You know, I'm thinking about the volume and the space, and I have a knowledge of like anatomy and all those kinds of things, you know. And here I'm doing it a little bit too fast for demonstration, but I think you get the point, right? This kind of drawing is in my experience equal to your level of sculpting, for example, in 3D. So if you like doing sculpting like in ZBrush or in 3D Code or in Blender, which is what I use, then if you're good at this, you will automatically also be good in the sculpting softwares. You know, like you might think, oh, it's about like learning the softwares, but learning the softwares takes no time. The actual sculpting is the thing that takes time. But the reverse is not true. If you just sculpt, you won't be good at drawing. Like sculpting very much affects your drawing way less than drawing affects your sculpting, right? Because drawing forces you to think about things in space, and it forces you to know way more about the thing because you're so much less reliant on other things, right? It makes sense, right? Because you're working on a 3D canvas, so you have to create your own 3D space, so you really have to know the stuff to make it work, because you have to imagine the perspective. Where in 3D, you got those things for free, so you can kind of, there's a dimension that your brain is lacking to attach knowledge to, if that makes sense. So drawing takes longer to learn. So if you're very confident that you're like, that's not the path I want to go down, then I think just stick to 3D. But drawing has some really good advantages, etc. I hope that helps. I'm kind of starting to like this little guy here. I want to do a little bit of a quick material pass on this guy here. Maybe this is the time where we do some kind of iridescence, you know. But please let the questions fly. I love when you guys have questions. I know that it slows down this process a little bit, but please shoot. Please shoot. Maybe not color dodge. Be literally anything. Could be about which movies are the best movies or which series are the best series. I have all those answers. Trying this thing again here. That doesn't feel the way it should feel. Let's do this instead. Bit of a roughness here. How do I sort and organize my art files? Oh my god, I just feel like you hit a sore spot. I would say in general I'm bad at sorting my art files, but sometimes I'm really good at it. So I tend to work in projects almost all the time. So for example, for everything that's related to Critical Giants, like the YouTube channel and stuff like that, that stuff is like really organized. Or not really organized, but quite well organized. And the way it typically looks is that I have something like this basically, where there's a folder for different projects. So I have a folder for like the ice landscape project, and you can see there's all these like thumbs and things like this, and everything related to the ice landscape project is just within this folder. And in here it can be a little bit messy, but that's also okay. You also see I have everything related to dinosaurs here, and this is a little bit messy, but that's okay. Depending on how complicated the project is, it might get subfolders to deal with certain stuff. Game ready character, all those kind of stuff, you know, it just lives inside this folder. These are actually the original sketches I did like a while back, where I was like, oh, I wanted to do like a like a thing like this kind of, but then I didn't, and yeah, it was a little bit limiting in a different way, but whatever. So I think by projects is mostly what I end up doing. I have this thing for Horizon also, where like you can see there's a bunch of mess in Black Horizon, right? But then sometimes I have a project, like for example, I have this project for these motorcycles. I have this project for this this kind of stuff. So it's everything is just like in that save. We saved. Thank you, Jules. Aditya asks, what do you think Tron in terms of design? Tron is really interesting. I think Tron, the great thing Tron has going for it is that Tron is also Blake, I hope that answered your question. Aditya, the question, what do you think of Tron in terms of design? So I think Tron, the great thing Tron has going for it is that it's very, very distinct, you know, and I think it's something to do with obviously the kind of aesthetic that they're going for, but it's just so distinct, so it's very recognizable, and I think that's partly also why we remember it so well. I'm sure there's been a movie and there's been, you know, other stuff related to it, but I think we all know Tron just because it's so visually striking. Yeah, it's not because any of us think the movies are great, because they're not really great, right? But they're so distinct that that I have to say I think it's actually great design. You know, is it my type of design? It's not my taste for design. I think it's a bit too flashy, but in doses I like it. I think actually some of the stuff from the latest Tron films, in a way, it's kind of cool. I think they did a pretty good job of like trying to make it fit the Tron universe. It's a hard thing to do. Schultz, thank you for joining so much. Hope to see you next time or a time after that or whatever. Enjoy your evening. I will save. See you around. So yeah, so that's the Tron thing going on there. That's almost like my main comment on Tron, is that I just think it's so distinct. Something like that. See how this material, it just like makes it pop, makes it feel kind of nice, you know. It gives it that like quality. Let's see here, we got this stuff going on. Let's see if I can bring in a little bit of these kind of things. Bye, Blixa. Oh wait, no, so you're saying bye to Schultz, I guess. Unless you're also leaving. Then wait. It happened again, even though I turned off the thing. It just happened again. Huh. There we go. Thanks, Leon. See you around, hopefully. Enjoy your evening. That kind of works. Like this kind of stuff, I think it's just like wear and tear. But that's what I was imagining, at least. Yeah, to get a little bit of. I also like the reflections. Kind of just makes it feel like glass, right? I still think those kind of things are hard to do, like doing glass and reflections. It's and I'm pretty bad at using reference. I always recommend using reference. I really, really do. I'm just so bad at doing myself. This is why I keep telling other people to do it. It's like, you know, what's that saying? Do practice what you preach or something like this. And I definitely do not. But I try to, and that's also why I'm saying it so often, so that I remind myself, like, right, that's I should do that. I should do that. Let's try a little bit of shadow stuff here. It actually kind of worked out. I think the shape actually somehow it worked. I just watched the latest episode of Invincible on Amazon Prime. Is anyone else watching that currently? Who's watching? I'm curious. Is anyone also watching Invincible? It's the animated show with the stuff. Yes, you're watching it. Okay, cool. You enjoying it? I'm really enjoying it. I think it's. This is my Spotify. It's a VLC playlist. Because it's all music that I have through Artlist that I can license. You also read the comic, okay. Then, so you read the full comics, so you kind of know what, you know all the stuff that's gonna happen eventually, I guess. I think the series is doing a. I've been really enjoying doing these streams. It's been a lot of fun. It's been nice chatting to you people. What do you mean, you people? Tropic Thunder. Oh my god. Oh, maybe actually this needs to be in the dark. Yeah, Scavenger's Rain, I was just thinking about checking that out. Yeah, did you like, for you people, if you haven't watched Invincible, like, it is 100% not your average kinda superhero show. It's just really cool. And it's also not like The Boys, you know, because The Boys is also on Amazon Prime. And I also kinda like The Boys, but I think I really like the stuff going on in Invincible a lot more. It's a very, very violent cartoon. And I just tried watching Pluto on Netflix. I gotta say, I was kind of like, I really liked the first episode, but then it just got way too anime for me. Yeah, something like that. And then should we draw out this guy? The Boys is a live action show. Also with superheroes, but basically, I guess like a realistic take on it. Like if all the superheroes were assholes, that's basically The Boys. Mammarians have a certain color that looks like this. These are mammarians. These are little four-armed creatures. And they kind of have a sad history. they're kind of like peaceful people. But then this race called the Karbok. Karbok. Sounds like a Pokemon. Karbok, Karbok. They came and they enslaved them, basically all of them. And it's a little bit like, you know, I want to see, I think I have some images of it actually. Let's see here, see what I got. See what I got. Maybe I don't. Yeah, so these guys here, these guys like this, they're the mammarians. Oh, these four-armed kind of blue, shorter guys. You know, they look not like this. There, right? And they're all enslaved by, I think they're called the Karbok, not the Karban. They're called the Karbok. These guys are like bigger, hairier dudes. I think I did this drawing of it at some point actually. I just want to see if I can find it. Where is this? There. Yeah, here. So the Karbok, they're kind of very good at making organic weapons. So they essentially grow their weapons like a life form, and they grow it into a weapon. And then they've enslaved the mammarians to go around with these like kind of acidic fuel tubes on their backs, and then they go around and fuel these weapons for them, like on the battlefields. So it's not so nice for them. I use this program called Miro, so miro.com, and I think for free you can make 5 boards basically. All the stuff is for my cinematic universe, or I guess world build. Yeah, all of the stuff is. It's I have it's a very big universe. If you wanna check it out, then I think there's the stuff here right on ArtStation. Everything Black Horizon is stuff from the universe. Otherwise on Reddit. There's a link to that in the description for the video actually, if you want to check it out. But like, pretty much everything I work on now is just for this, for the same universe. And it's, yeah, I kind of set out to basically make a world that's like as big as Star Wars, which obviously I'm one guy, so that's gonna be kind of tough, but that is literally the goal. And I've done a lot now. I've done so much that I've started forgetting stuff. You know, and it's pretty hard to manage, but I love it. I think it's great fun. And I've kind of set this like, I guess, personal rule now that like when I make something, it's just for the world. Like it's a sci-fi world, so there could be lots of stuff in it, but you know, I do break that rule sometimes, right? But if I sit down and make something, it's for the world. That's just how it is. And then that just means that if you keep doing that, then you're gonna have a lot of stuff eventually. How do I decide when a project like this is finished? It's never finished. It's an ongoing thing. I think I can finish like a small project. Oh, it's the wrong place. It's the wrong place. Black Horizon will never be finished. The goal is not to finish it either. It's I'll just keep building the world so it gets as big as it is. Like it's an ongoing effort. But I think, you know, like things like I have a project, for example, that is like make this city. You know, that thing. Like for me, this thing is finished when I feel like I can post it and explain what I need to do. Like obviously this is not at a movie level quality, right? But it's enough, and you see there's even stuff floating here. You know, I'm a little bit too lazy with some of these things sometimes, but for me the important thing is that when the feeling is there, like of what everything's supposed to feel like and getting the idea across, then it's done to me, right? Because I'm here to try to show a world. I'm not here to like you know, it's not about making the finished thing, it's about communicating an idea. So whenever this is like at the state where I feel like it's conveying what the idea is, then it's finished. For a project like this, for example, like I did this T-Rex, and the goal was to get it to a point where I could animate it and it looked somewhat realistic. So then that's when the project is finished, right? But for something like Black Horizon, there's no end to how that project is done. It'll never be done. But I'm working on, you know, I'm working on this game for this world, and when the game is done, then that game is done. So I would say that that's the way I get around deciding when it's finished, is that it's never finished. I think a lot in like terms of products. So if something is a product, then you can finish it. Black Horizon is not a product, it's a world. And then products can exist within that world. That's maybe the way I can think about it. I hope that wasn't too much of a bullshit answer. I hope that was somehow like informative. It's a hard, like the dedication. I don't know how much it has to do with dedication versus like obsession, because I'm not super. I think people ask, like a lot of people who ask, like, oh, how do you have so much motivation to do stuff, or like where do you find the time, or how do you stick with it? And I'm like, the actual answer is that I can't not stick with it. It's not a choice, to be frank, honestly. And you could, oh, what a luxury. It's like, yeah, but it's also, it's obsessive, like for me. I've always done it also as a kid. Like you know, I think about these kinds of things. But then I guess the dedication now is that like I think, you know, you Anderson Silva, hello, good night, see you around. Hope you enjoyed the time if you're around. Personally, what is writing Plex? Personally, to have things to come to an end, otherwise I feel like my effort pointless, or I feel like I'm just making drafts. No, I mean I feel like that too. It was actually a big problem for me. I needed to break up my my big project in smaller things, smaller chunks, so I could get something out and not feel like I was just making, just writing down ideas and then not doing anything with them. Like genuinely, making YouTube actually taught me a lot about kind of breaking things down. It's like, okay, you know what, I can do a YouTube video and then that is a project for a week or something, you know, and then that kind of stuff. It's a hard thing. But with something like the world here, I think it's much more about like obsession. But then all the stuff I'm making for it, like this kind of thing, for example, that comes from I guess that comes from some kind of dedication. You know, it's like some kind of dedication there to things. Haha, he's so funny. But people are very different with this kind of stuff. I always just recommend people to figure out what really works for them and then try to really harness those aspects. I have a discussion with a friend quite often, which is like whether you can learn anything. Like, is the world in such a way that you can, like, if you said you had, you know, access to everything in terms of resources and the abilities, would you be able to learn anything, right? And I think yes, but some things are going to be harder for you to learn than other things because your brain is just naturally geared towards one thing or the other, and that could be based on either just like, you know, your natural brain chemistry or whatever you were exposed to as a child, right, or in youth or in school or whatever. But I do think your brain thinks and syncs in a certain way. Sync, not as in like a German think, but like it synchronicity, right? It has a certain way it likes to think about stuff, and I always thought about that a lot. We're like, okay, what kind of stuff do I naturally? How do I naturally think about things? And how can I use that to increase my efforts in learning stuff? I know that I'm incredibly impatient, for example. I know that I like to break things down to their most fundamental states. I really like learning like if I had to learn about a car, it's like, oh, like how does a car work? Then I kind of want to look at how cars used to work, and then it's like, okay, so there's like, oh, there's an engine that's 8 cylinders. So like, okay, but what's one cylinder? You know, what does that even mean? It's like, oh, okay, the one cylinder is this like little piston, and then you have an explosion happening within the piston, and then that makes the piston go up, and that pushes a crank in a certain way, and that makes the it holds an axle, and then it pushes the axle, so then it adds rotation to this axle, and then you have something spinning, and then you can get the wheel turning and stuff like this. I like breaking things like that. That's how I try to learn things. It takes a lot longer, but for me it gives me a more fundamental understanding of things, which I like. I tend to really go deep into things, so I just know that, like, okay, those kinds of things work for me. So if I have to learn something new, then I try to go about it in that way, despite what other people are saying. Like, other people are like, oh, you just have to do this, this, and this, and this. Like, that could sometimes be fine, but I just know that, like, I tend to learn things this way. So I would rather spend the time to like look for a teacher who maybe also feels the same way, and then hear how they talked about like learning about cars or something like that, and things like that. So I think just like the hyper awareness of how you learn and get information, you know. I just want to read your messages here again, Plexi. Personally, I have two things. I have things come to an end, otherwise I feel like my effort was pointless, or it feels like I'm just making drafts. Yeah, that's the thing, right? But I do have some projects I've had motivation and creativity for 2+ years, which I haven't gotten around to making them yet. Right. I wonder, like, do you feel like, what do you feel like is stopping you from doing the things? Do you feel like they're too big, and then you're like, oh, I don't want to get started because I'm gonna have to dedicate so much time to get it to where I want it to be? Or do you feel like when you sit down to make something, then you have something else you feel better about like making right now? You're like, oh, I feel more excited about this thing right now than this thing I'm wanting to make for like 2+ years. Or maybe you can elaborate on that. It's just kind of interesting. DJ Vice, any tips on presenting stuff on ArtStation? Yeah, actually, you know what? There was this guy who wrote me like a while back, a guy called Johannes Winkler, who is this his name? He just wrote me and asked me for some feedback, and I don't really have a picture of his portfolio before, but we basically talked about like cleaning up your portfolio and organizing things. So just like in the really big scheme of things, then I think that you can have quite mediocre work, just presented really, really well, and then that's gonna get you really, really, really far. So I think that like one thing we did with Johannes' thing was that he had a lot more. He maybe had twice as many things, and we just talked about like grouping things together and making things really, really, really clear. So you can see these like thumbnails; they're really, really, really clear. Like they just have very clear. It's a composition in itself, right? It's like you got your sky, you got your thing, you got your guy, you got those kind of things. You know exactly what's happening there. That's something you should just always think about. Is like your thumbnails. Then when you come in to the actual profile, then what I really, really think about super often is how am I as the viewer guided through the experience of the stuff. Like you almost have to think about the viewing experience as like a film, or like like a comic, or like an image in itself, or something like that. I think about it like that because when somebody comes in, then I want them to scroll through my thing. Like that, I want them to do that, and they're not just gonna do that. They might see the first thing and be like, oh, that's not really interesting. This thing should be the, like they see this and then you're like, oh, I seen this. Now I wanna keep going, right? So for Johannes, for example, when he had this thing before, I think he only had this image right here. And then I gave him some feedback and stuff, and I was like, I think you should like play with your camera angles way more. We talked a lot about like, hey, what do you want the feeling of this thing to be? He's like, it should kind of be just like the place where we arrive to this ancient temple underneath the cave or something, right? I'm like, okay, so we arrive, then there needs to be some kind of feeling, and I think you can like we can do a lot there, right? Where it's like, okay, we can come over to it like this, and then where the thing feels really, really grand, like we're looking up at it, now this thing feels really, really grand, right? And it has a certain feeling. But there's also something like this, where we're higher up and we're seeing like, oh, it's really far down or deep down. Like that's what it feels like, more like this thing. This kind of is in between, and it's not really doing either of those things here. It just feels a little bit more lonely, and maybe that's not the feeling, right? But so think about what the feeling you want to have as soon as you're starting. So it's like, okay, this thing feels grand. You're like, oh, what is this? do I want to explore this thing? Maybe it's like, okay, I've got a few more shots, but I'm already kind of invested. That's kind of the point. So I'm willing to go through things that maybe aren't as strong as the initial thing, or something like that. Not that these aren't as strong as this, but that's kind of the idea. And then it's like, okay, I can see like some of the, like, oh, he had it like this actually. That's pretty cool. Ooh, that's interesting. And that's a good sketch also, like this. And then an asset breakdown, right? So I would think about like how we're guided through the, did he actually change this one here? So here we talked about like doing it as a story. So it's like, oh, we see the little ship first. We're like, oh, okay, where is it going? Oh, it's going to this base. What's it doing? Oh, it's landing on this thing. Oh, it landed. And then you kind of like, you got a little bit of like a story thing going on. Etc, etc, etc. And then an asset breakdown. So I would, you know, these are the really, really big terms for like presenting stuff. I think a different thing is like, depending on the kind of work you're doing, be very aware of the fact that like some people will just look at something like looking as good as possible. I think it's always really good to like have a really strong start, to just be like bada bam, this is my big strong start, and then you can break it down. You can go into things that aren't as interesting if you have several things in your post. Let me see here if I have something like yeah, so I have the finished piece first, and then I have like a breakdown or something like that. What do I have? Do I have anything that's a little bit more different? So I have main piece, then I have some breakdown shots, variation shots, and then ending with the same thing. Wrapping it, what do I have here? Main shot, wrapping it. And then for these guys, obviously like the presentation is very much world building. Like, okay, I have this thing, then it's like, okay, I literally thought about like, I have this shot, then I want to have a contrasting shot. So linear or like vertical, horizontal. And then, okay, I'll have something that breaks that up. It's a little bit more in detail, more in detail, more in detail. And then like, you can see there's almost a growing here. It's like 3, 2, 3, 3. So just think about like, how am I experiencing it as I'm going through it? And I'm not going to say that it always works. It doesn't always work for me, but I like it that way. And I think the people who interact with my content, they tend to like really like it, even if not that many people see it. And I should definitely spend more time making stuff more detailed. Like I keep it so rough. It's not good. It's not good. A lot of stuff in the chat there. I should really looking at this. Anderson Silver, I don't know if this applies to you, but a tip someone told me is that when you want to write a story, start from the end, then start to build the world backwards. Well, that's certainly a thing. Plex writes, specifically I really want to film a couple music videos for which I have the visions and concepts so clear in my mind, but things like no equipment, no studio space, and low confidence are stopping me. I think the worst factor is the confidence thing. The biggest thing stopping me there. So Plexi, this thing you're saying you want to make a music video. Do you want to record like yourself doing like, so you want to act in front of like a camera, or do you want to like sing and stuff, or what are you thinking? Or you want to do stuff in 3D? What's the, you want to film a couple of music videos? Kind of interesting. Spiderbot. Oh, I kind of want to do one more, but it's so late. Maybe we should wrap it up. Even though this was immensely enjoyable. I feel like we almost didn't do a robot, but we did do robots. But yeah. You'd like to be the performer? Okay, cool. No, I get that, the whole performance thing. I started doing like YouTube videos back when I was like 16 or something, and I remember just being so unconfident in my voice. I mean, I think even breaking past that point is like, it's like that kind of thing. But the whole thing about like how you use your voice and how you feel and talk to the camera, that's not. I mean, maybe some people have it as a skill. It was definitely not a skill for me. It was something I had to like develop over. It wasn't like a. It wasn't a natural skill. It's something I had to develop over time. And also this thing of like talking into the microphone and using your voice in a way that's somewhat engaging and like and feels natural. And the really weird thing is that you have to learn to talk normal. And I think it's more like a confidence to talk normal. You know, that's what you build over time. Or that's how it was for me at least. And I went through this whole period of like trying to like learning how to act with my voice, which also that was difficult. But it was a big I think it was a big confidence thing. And the worst thing is the answer is always to just try. And yeah, you'll probably make something and somebody will say that it's shit or it's bad. I've had that many times. And then it's like, it's, in a way it's personal, right? If somebody thinks what you make is bad. But it is just about a piece of work that was made, something you're trying to do. I think I've always protected myself in the way where I'm like, well, I'm trying to make something, you know, and then if I fail at it, I fail at it, and that's okay. I think I don't think I'm too afraid of like failing in the moment, because it's a learning experience, right? I think that's the thing that I keep in mind. It's just like it's okay to fail. I mean, I'm like, you try something, right, and then that's it. That's kind of all you can do. I think that's one of the nice and awful things about the world is that like you literally anything could happen at any moment. Statistically, most things are quite unlikely, but a plane could crash down in your house and then everything explodes, right? It could happen. Like the odds are there for this stuff to happen, but it's unlikely. But just because there's no certainty, that means that all we can do is try. And then most things we try, that if we try walking or something like that, we'll probably succeed, or try breathing, probably succeed. But it could not be. And I think that uncertainty gives me like a little bit of like a strange confidence in the nature of how things work. It's like, well, I can only try. I kind of disagree with Spock on that note, right, from Star Trek. It's like there's only do, there is no try. Wait, no, is that Yoda? That is Yoda. I disagree on that front. I think there's only trying, and then there's calculated tries. And that takes the pressure off a little bit. The most annoying thing is that you are your worst critic. Like somebody might not like something you make, but they won't be paying that much attention to it, if that makes sense. The whole confidence thing is, no, yeah, it's you are your own worst critic. I'm also my own worst critic, for sure. For sure. But you know, personally in the music video case, it boils down to insecurity about my appearance, which is a whole topic and something I've always dealt with. Yeah, I mean, that's, like, to be completely frank, like the world is cruel in that we have certain like beauty standards, and they're not the same for everyone. I can tell you that. Like, and also depending on culture and these kind of things that change. But we do get influenced by it, right? Because we don't feel like we're perfect or good enough for all this crap. I think the older I've gotten, the more I have distanced myself from that. You know, I was always super, I had super low confidence about my nose and stuff like this. When I was a teenager, I was like, oh my god, my nose is is way too big, and I would constantly like stare at my nose from the side in the mirror, and which is an annoying thing because you can't really see your nose. Whatever. I would be incredibly insecure about my nose. It was growing way larger than I wanted to, and then it becomes part of you, and then you learn to deal with it. And I guess you learn to like it and figure out that some people like it. Maybe not most people, but maybe that's not so important. That it's most people who like it. Maybe it's just enough that some people like it, or most important that you like it. And it could be that you don't like it yourself. Like obviously, I have things about myself that I don't like. That's how we work as humans. But I think I guess it's a process of acceptance in some way. My nose, thank you. It's my nose. It's my nose. It is so big though that sometimes when I have to drink from wine glasses, I can't, you drink from wine glass, right? And then you drink, you're like, and then I've noticed that like I can see on other people that they bent their neck far less than I bent my neck, and it's because the fucking glass is hitting my nose, and I can feel that like when I'm drinking from the wine glass to actually drink the stuff, then I can feel that it's unnatural the amount I have to bend my neck. I can feel it like every time I'm drinking with the glass, and then it's like, oh my god. And I think that's another part of it, is like that if you have good friends or friends, I think it's important. I think self irony or like being able to joke about your own appearance and stuff like this, that it makes it easier. Maybe it's also just a coping mechanism, but I've definitely learned to deal with that. And my friends can always say that like it's like oh, there's no air in here. It's probably because Will is breathing up all the air, then I'm like, fuck you, and then, but it's all good, right? And then I have this particular friend, and every time I tell him about the wine thing, he's just laughing at me. It's like, that's so good. I think for me that's always been a good way to build confidence, is feeling like I can joke about myself. For some reason we're getting more viewers now. We start talking about all this stuff. We should do a thing where we just talk about mental stuff, confidence, and those kind of things. That's I'll also say that like I have lots of friends, and I'm definitely one of the more confident people in my friend group. I definitely have people who are a lot more not confident about what they're doing, or way more in their head and worried about, oh, did I do this or do that. I've also had periods of confidence in my, like lack of confidence in my life. But I think around the mid-20s, I grew a lot of confidence. I think just because I really figured out what I wanted to do, and then I got really obsessive about that. And as soon as I got really obsessive about something, then I realized that like, oh, actually this is what matters, and all this other stuff that people say doesn't matter, Like the stuff that matters, people say, is like when people say, oh, I love this, I want to interact or something. All the hatred is like, well, that's your problem probably. Unless I'm doing something really awful, then of course you should pay attention. But you know what I mean? It's like you figure it out. But I think confidence is a really bizarre thing. I do believe in all these like micro things of like your presence, of like trying to carry yourself more. Like I think the smallest things, like if you feel not confident, you're probably gonna feel more like you want to hide yourself or be small, and then you will feel people looking at you differently if your body language is a certain way, and then they'll be recursive, right? I guess my biggest recommendation is like to take really small steps, but then you can be like, oh, but I don't know which steps are the right steps to take. And I think if, for example, if one wanted to perform or do something where one puts oneself out there, then one tries in small steps, like for example, starting with your voice or something like that. I started with my voice. It's a thing you can put out, and then you like if you recorded your own voice and then did something with your voice, then you can still maintain a little bit of security about yourself, but still putting yourself out there in a way, or you know. And then I think etc, etc, etc. Or you can I mean, it's also a common thing that you like, you know, you do some work. I think people are way more, and it's kind of fault of people, it's like we're way more accepting of people once we feel like they've provided something of value. It's gonna sound a little bit cynical, but like, let's say you do some work. Like, let's say if you only knew me through my drawings, stuff like this, as soon, like, maybe you see my drawing stuff for 5 years, then maybe finally you saw my face, then whatever I look like, you'd probably be like, I don't care, right? You know, because you've probably already been interested in my work or whatever, versus if my face had already been there from the very beginning, which it was, but let's just imagine, then you'd have a certain, or some people might see my face and then be like, oh, I'm interested, or oh, I'm not interested, or something like that, because there's a little bit more of a connection or whatever. So yeah, it's like small steps. Okay, we need to. What is happening here in the chat, by the way? Some advice for getting more clients, Gabo. Oh, getting more clients. Focus on what you're good at. Focus on what you're good at. More often, people want somebody who can do something really well. That doesn't mean you shouldn't be a generalist. Sometimes generalist is what people want, but if that's not what people want, then that's not what you should advertise. I think when you're trying to get more clients, then reach out and say, I'm really good at this, this, and this. If you need somebody to fix this and this, then I'm the person to fix that for you. It's as simple as that, you know. And if you don't feel that way about yourself, then a tiny white lie. But I think it's that's a good thing. Don't be afraid of just contacting clients. Don't be so hesitant. Just make sure you have a clear-cut portfolio where, like, this is my work, represents what I'm good at. I always recommend this is the distribution of content. It's called the 70-30 rule that I came up with, but I'm sure lots of other people have it too. 70-30 rule. 70% here. 70% of your work is the stuff you're really good at, right? So let's say you are a background artist, then 70% of your stuff is backgrounds. You know, backgrounds, cool backgrounds, that kind of stuff, right? And the remaining 30% is something else. Maybe you also dabble a little bit in character design, right? But this is stuff you're good at. Okay? It's okay to show variety in your portfolio if you feel like you want that, but I think really show them what it is you're good at, and then take it from there. I think getting clients is often more about timing than you being the right person for the job. especially when you're looking for clients versus clients looking for you. Just keep asking, you know, ask every month or something, you know, send out a new batch of 20 emails to a bunch of clients, just say, here are my services, this is what I do. Next month, do the same thing. Just keep it going. 70-30 rule. For me, true confidence boost was when I started college and found people that liked me and started doing things on my own and like caring for myself. Exactly, that's the stuff. Exactly. The second was then thought somebody was into me, which is a story for another time. But exactly, you know, those are the things. It's I mean, I think I'm also an egomaniac enough to be like, oh yeah, you know, somebody liked me at some point, that means I'm great, you know, but not really. But I'd rather think about those things, and then I'd rather be a tiny bit delusional if it gives me confidence, especially if I have a hard time gaining confidence, you know. And that's not just something you can decide to do, but I think focusing on the positives, I don't think it's ever been a bad thing. And or no, not focusing on the confidence, but trying to focus on the confidence. I did this technique once with somebody. I thought it was great. So it requires some explanation, but basically, let's imagine that your brain is a muscle, right? It's not a muscle, but it is a muscle. Like if you practice a certain thing, your brain will get better at doing the thing. So it'll get stronger in the same way that if you exercise your muscle, it'll get stronger. So the thing was that, like, if you have a tendency to have negative thoughts or something like that, then just like force yourself to so then just like think about happy things. You're like, oh, I can't force myself to think about happy things, but no, but just like just put yourself in a scenario where you know you'll think about happy things, or just pretend to think about happy things, even if you're like forcing it, like, oh yes, I'm forcing it, and you're well aware that you're forcing it, but at least you're exercising your brain to naturally think about happy things, which will make it easier next time getting into happy thoughts. It's something. I think it actually genuinely works. It's worked for me many times, where, you know, you've been in periods of like certain things, and then I'm like, okay, I need to find something that makes me happy, and then I'm just gonna try to focus on that, then exercise my brain into a confident, happy state, and then you're gliding that way. Even if you're tricking yourself, because it's about exercising the muscle more so than, oh, now I'm thinking about happy, then I'm happy. That's not the point. The point is to exercise your brain and to naturally think about happy things. Hope that makes sense. That's how I think about it. Gabo writes, thank you, man, I'll keep that in mind. You're welcome. I hope that that helps. Okay, should we wrap the stream up? I think we have to. I'm getting exhausted. Well, we managed to do some things. We managed to do 2 Bobos right there. We still don't have some names. We have Spec, and Bark. No, Beak. That's pretty good. It has no beak. That's why it's funny. Wait, is Beak with an A? Yeah, it is. Beak. Spec and Beak. Beak and Spec. It kind of looks like he's the ruler of something ridiculous. Maybe he has a whip. Wait. Maybe he has a gun. That looks stupid. Yerix. Intelligo is a cool name. Latin for finding, I think. Oh, that's interesting. Intelli. Oh. Intelli. That's okay. E-Rex. Okay. We gotta wrap this stream. Intelli. Okay, cool. Guys, we have to do a final thing. And we have to do tax avoidance. I think. If you want to avoid doing your taxes or tax avoidance, I don't know why we have to do this, but we have to do it. It's a tradition. So, the last tip for avoiding taxes is drum roll, please. Drum roll, please. Is to always wear cosplay and insist that you're from a different world where they don't have taxes. If you do it enough, I don't think they will make you pay taxes. Like, you have to go real hard into this. And your cosplay has to be very convincing. There you go. Revolver. Okay, guys, we are gonna end the stream. We're gonna say goodnight to everyone. Thank you for joining. It's been real lovely. Probably see you on next Thursday. Ciao.